This podcast will fail, mostly because nobody's going to listen to it. But you might prove me wrong. Who knows? Episode 40, and this podcast will fail. One thing we definitely failed at was sticking with the daily podcasts. Welcome to episode 40. We'll call this the season finale of season 2, Life, Society, and Self. I, of course, am just some guy. Who I am and where I am is completely irrelevant to the conversations that I come here to have with you and, of course, with myself. Pretty straightforward that life was the reason that we did not make a podcast this weekend for Saturday or Sunday. Basically had my kids with me, and I spent time with my family rather than spending time talking to an electronic device and posting it on the internet where nobody would listen to it. But it was great. I have 2 older sons. Well, I have 3 older sons, 3 adult sons. 2 of them are away at college. They're sharing a dorm room, as a matter of fact. So lots of birthdays this past week. Last episode was me telling you how I turned 45, and I'm not sure about it. My oldest son turned 23. I told you about that last week. And my youngest son turned 14 yesterday. So we had the college boys home. We had a great Halloween/family party. We played family games. We ate lots of food. We had lots of fun. Despite the stress and pressures of a pandemic world and everything that goes with that, it was really amazing to have all 6 of my kids together. We had one of the significant others. My 18-year-old's boyfriend was with us, and it was just fun, right? It was a chance to unwind and relax and get caught up, and you know, my 2 sons have only been away for 2 months, 2.5 months, something like that. End of August, beginning of September is when they went, and here we are at the end of October, so 2 months. And, you know, we talk to them, quote unquote, not talk to them. We text with them a couple times a week, and we stay in contact. And but still, you know, they wanted to know what home was like without them, and what, you know, they were genuinely interested in what was happening with their siblings who were here, with our family pets. Like, the first thing my 21-year-old said when he walked in the house is, "I need to go see Simon," who is one of our great big. He's part Saint Bernard and part Bernese Mountain Dog. He the big boy. And the first thing, he wanted to go see Simon, and that was great. And it just felt good. It was, and again, it wasn't like skipping the podcast for 2 days was somehow some egregious act, because life happens, and I think that's probably one of the things I've had to learn in my years as a digital content creator. Sometimes you get too beholden to this idea of what you have to do, and you set goals. Go ahead and set goals. Setting goals is great. Having a direction and you know, things you want to achieve and accomplish, fine, great. But I mean, unless it's actually a real business venture, or, you know, unless you're somehow actually poised to become wildly successful as a digital media creator, whether that's YouTube or podcasts or anywhere else, I've had to learn that you can't let that get in the way of life. That your life and your family and it's more important. Are more important. And that time spent with family is something you'll never get back if you lose it, right? If I were to tell everybody, stay over there, I'm going to go up and close myself in my room and and record a podcast for 20 minutes. And then, instead of hanging out till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night in the living room, playing stupid games and having fun. And no, I'm going to go hide in my room for an hour and edit audio and post it and all this other nonsense. That didn't make any sense to me. So, but I think, there probably was more to do with season 2 here. I didn't get it. I didn't get what I wanted out of it necessarily. I think that it's something that I think I need to come back to down the road in the future. I think the world is just a little bit too nuts right now for me to try and hone in on anything about life, because life right now for so many people is stress and anxiety and pandemic and safety and trying to work and trying to navigate the election and the stress, and all of it is just, there's so much that is dominating daily life right now that I don't really think I could even have the conversations that I was wanting to have with myself, or any of you who happen to listen, for that matter. And I think I've also got to continue to evolve and continue to refine what it is I'm doing here, because I like to start the thing off with my personal affirmation that this thing is going to fail. This podcast will fail because nobody's going to listen to it. Well, there's 2 or 3 of you out there who continue to show up for some reason. And I think that it is time that I turn the page a little bit on my own self-imposed idea of what this thing is supposed to be. And I guess throw open a curtain and let in a little bit of light. I'm not going to throw open a window right now because the weather is shifting and it's damn near freezing outside. So no, we're not going to do that. We just kind of park the curtains and let some sunshine in and let some people in, hopefully. And I'm not going to set any false expectations for myself. I still don't think that this thing is going to catch on, and that's okay that it doesn't. The whole genesis of this podcast was me working through my creative projects hitting dead ends time and time and time again. That was the whole point of season 1, was to walk through my life as a creator. Season 2, to take a closer look at the world and what I think about things and what I observe and see. The season 3, I think I feel it. I think I hear that call of interaction. I think I want to talk to people, and I want to do more than just sit here and blah 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 and assume that nobody's listening and not do anything. I know that I've got to maintain some limits for myself just to keep my sanity, keep myself in check. So I know that still not going to. There's several things I'm not going to do. Okay, I am not going to set up social media. Right, not going to do that. I am not going to blast out the link to this podcast to everybody and their brother and their mother and plaster it all over my personal social media like I used to do, and friends and family who kind of politely roll their eyes and give me a cringy thumbs up and say, yeah, and then they don't listen to it anyways. None of that. I'm staying away from that. I'm going to stick with this idea that I'm just producing this thing and putting it out there to see what happens, but I'm not going to spend my days and nights chasing it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to plant the seed and see if it grows on its own, because social media marketing sucks. I'm not sinking hundreds of dollars into marketing and all this other nonsense. If it's good, it's good. And if it's good, people will listen to it. And that means I have to probably come up with a different opening for the podcast. We'll see. I also think that I will relax on the daily, right? I made it 40 days. Okay. And that includes the episode 0, right? Because I numbered it as 0. So even though it was 39 the other day, it was actually 40 days. And this is not really 40. This is 41, but it's episode 40, and it's podcasting. Dumb shit that podcasters do. I don't know why, but that's what I do. That's what we're supposed to do. It's what I'm told anyways. I think I'm going to take the weekends off. I think that I will record Monday to Friday going forward. I think that's a solid plan. All right, Monday, I've got this great opportunity to sit here at my desk in my room with my nice mixing board and studio quality microphone and audio. Sounds nice and compressed and crisp and all that nonsense. So I will do that on Mondays and post it. And then the rest of the week, for as long as I can deal with sitting in the front seat of the car before it just becomes entirely too cold. If it's a howling snowstorm, I don't see being able to sit there and record a podcast while I'm shivering and I can see my own breath in the air. But I also don't have a quiet place at work to be able to record. I thought I had it. There's like a whole unused portion of the building at work where there's practically no one around, and 2 nice little 10 by 10 foot conference rooms. But unfortunately, there's a heating vents that blast, and it was just it was intrusive, to say the least. So I'm not sure. I've got some things I got to figure out in terms of and how I actually make the podcast. I guess I got to think about that. I got some time, 32 to 38 degrees is okay. All right. I'll try to park in the sunshine. So maybe the car will warm up and I'll be okay that way. But yeah, I think Monday to Friday feels more workable. I can have the weekends to myself, to be time spent with my wife, not having her listen to me do this nonsense. Time with my kids, which is hard to get time with your kids when they're teenagers anyway. So, try to get every minute I can with them for that purpose. So, like I said, I know that I'm going to swing back around and try to talk about the world in more detail. But I've got to figure out exactly what I want to do now. I want to talk to people. Right, that's bottom line. I want to hear from people, and I want to talk to people. So when I fire this thing up tomorrow, and I launch season 3, I'm not sure yet what I'm going to call season 3. I think I know. Nobody's listening to this at 13 minutes in right now, so it doesn't really matter. I really am probably talking to myself, but I don't know that. I don't know. So I'm formulating a way to test and gauge whether or not people are actually listening. But there'll be a lot more detail on it tomorrow. Anchor FM, which is the quote unquote home of this podcast, is where it's uploaded and then fed out to various podcasting sites. But Anchor has a nice little leave a voicemail kind of thing. So I'll have a link. God's sakes. A link in the description below. Right? Get on board, kids. Click the link in the description below. Oh, Christ. Let's right back to all the stuff I hate about being a content creator. But I know it's the only way that I'm going to be able to have real and substantive conversations with people. So that's, I think, where we go. I'm going to, and if you're listening right now, just over 14 minutes, be ready, because if you come back tomorrow, which I hope you do, I don't think you will, but I hope you do. I hope I've earned your time and trust at this point. I intend to ask you for your perspective on things. I intend to ask you what you think about X, right? And hope that you'll reply, and I will put those replies in the podcast, and we will try to generate conversations based on that. So that's probably good, right? Just a little over 15 minutes for this one. There's no reason to sit here and drag this one out. I just wanted to kind of close out this first season and know that that I've got a direction of where I'm going next. And really, if you are listening and you've taken the time, thank you. I very much appreciate your time and attention. I hope I made it worth it. I hope I make better connections with you going forward. That's it. I'm done. Going to stop there, and we will come back again tomorrow and see if we can do something different for season 3. Again, thanks so much, and have a good one.